How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about Ava's Possessions from 2016, directed by Jordan Galland and starring Louisa Krause. This movie, for those of you guys who have been keeping up with the channel, I actually picked this up quite recently in a Dollar Tree haul video. This company that made the DVD momentum there, a lot of their stuff wound up going into the Dollar Tree, and a few copies of this were floating around, so I of course picked it up. And when I did that haul video, a lot of you guys were saying, hey, check this one out, this is actually pretty good. So I went ahead and I popped it in. This is actually, yeah, it's a pretty fun movie. So I'm glad I picked it up and glad I listened to you guys and put it up higher on the list. So let's go ahead and just jump right into this. Not going to be doing any major spoilers. I do want to say my piece on a few plot points, but I also really want you guys to have a basic understanding as to what this movie is about. But when we go into the plot in this first section, no major spoilers, so don't worry about that. Anyway, this movie opens with a girl, Ava, obviously from the title, Ava's Possessions. It opens with her exorcism. It very much feels like the idea is it's the movie after the ending of what a typical movie would be, you know, because so many possession movies, it's like, oh, they're unpossessed now, they're fine, don't worry about it. And in real life, you have to ask, would they really be fine with something as crazy as that just happening? So she gets unpossessed, exorcised, she wakes up and she goes, what the heck happened? It's been weeks and weeks, I forget exactly how long. Her apartment's trashed and her friends and family are around, and some of them have like cuts, and the mom has an eye patch on, and it's a big mystery to her and to us what exactly happened during the weeks and weeks she was possessed. And you get to know that it's probably pretty bad. Now, she meets with, I guess, something like a social worker, and the guy explains, look, when you were possessed, you broke several laws, and you can do a few options, which are, you know, various ways to, pay for that, or you can go to a support group, a Spiritual Possessions Anonymous support group, and if you complete that course, you don't have to go to jail or anything, so that's of course the option she picks. And it's this really interesting group. You get to meet several different people who have different little takes on what happened to them and all the crazy things in their life, and you get to some of them talk about what it was like when they were possessed, or what spiritual entity possessed them, and you get a fair bit of world building here. You also get to meet their coach, you know, big guy with a mustache, who's like, you really don't want to get possessed again, you really need to follow the steps. And the big thing, how they know that they're completed with this course, is every now and then you have a chance to take this test where they have a magical necklace, they can put it on you, and if you can rip the necklace off yourself, then you're free. But the catch is, the necklace will invite whatever demon last possessed you back, so you have to be able to rip the necklace off and free yourself on your own accord, and then they know that you're strong enough not to get possessed again. So an interesting concept there. But outside of this, she has to make amends. It's really treated a lot like Alcoholics Anonymous. You know how people say, oh, when I was under the influence of drugs and alcohol, I was a different person. I guess that's what they're running with here. But part of her thing, much like real AA, they're supposed to make amends with the people they wronged, which in Ava's case includes finding the people she wronged. But there's more to how she got possessed and what she did when she was possessed, then first meets the eye, and it's this big mystery plot. She's trying to make amends, and she realizes, wait, first off, she finds a watch, and she has to figure out who owned this watch and what they were doing in that apartment. And that leads to several different people, and she has to kind of follow clues, and it really does become this mystery, which was pretty fun and unexpected there. Now, there are a few things that are worth knowing going in. One is this uses a horror element, the possession trope, but this isn't really that scary of a movie. It's shot more in like those quirky independent comedy styles, and there's some scary stuff, particularly at the beginning and at the end, but this movie, it's not trying to scare you, and I don't mind, when you use a horror trope or a traditional horror creature in another setting. I think that's fine, but the thing is, you're going to get some people that go into this wanting to see super creepy stuff, and that's not in this movie. It's more a quirky indie movie, and there is some scary times, but not much. It really wants to be more of a quirky indie movie, although that being said, I do wish it was darker for the darker humor, but just know that going into it, the biggest horror thing is they do that Argento lighting that indie horror is so much of a fan of, it seems. But there is that bright, Dario Argento Suspiria lighting throughout this. But yeah, just know going in that this uses horror tropes, but it's not trying to be scary. The other big thing I feel with this movie is it really is a movie of two halves. You have one half with the spiritual possession Anonymous, and the other half with this mystery. And I feel like either or could have been a good movie by itself, but putting both these two elements in, it does kind of force a lot into a relatively small runtime. I don't think this is even quite 90 minutes long. Yeah, only 87. I saw another reviewer on YouTube who said that this could have been a TV series, and there's a lot here. It really could have been, and I would probably work out better that way. But when you get it as is, the half with the spiritual possessions Anonymous, it's really good and interesting. It really builds the world. You get, the government obviously knows that demon possession is real, but the average person isn't super familiar with it, and, even though they know, you get someone come in and act crazy, can you still trust them and go back to them? And in turn, because this world is a world with, bigger stuff in it sometimes, there's some wacky things that kind of get brushed off because of this world. And you do get things like a handbook for spiritually possessed people, and there's even when someone gets possessed, they kind of have this Beetlejuice-like makeup, and it's a lot of really fun world-building stuff inside this part of the movie, and you could have done a whole movie that was just a spiritual possession Anonymous movie, and that would have been really good, and you could have really gotten into this, but because there is this whole other half, there'll be long periods of the movie where you don't see the support group, and it is tracking down a mystery and trying to figure out who did what, and in turn, there are large chunks of this movie where, they don't even reference the spiritual possessions group, which, like I said, you could have done a whole movie in this vein. The other half is the mystery, which is a really good, interesting mystery, but I feel the side characters don't have enough time where, sometimes a side character that turns out to be important later, you're like, okay, who was he again? Oh, yeah. And they could have just done just the mystery, just, woke up, don't know what's going on, and I have to track down this mystery. That could have been good in and of itself, but the, Possessions Anonymous group eats into the time of the mystery, and in turn, a lot of these side characters I don't feel are as defined, and then there's other things with the mystery, like there's some elements of the mystery that are kind of obvious, and you're like, oh, that explains this bear toy, I get it now, and then the main character's not going to get it for a while. And then there's other parts of the mystery where it just kind of comes out of nowhere. You're like, oh, I guess that character does that, or that character's behind this. And, in turn, you do get some overly simplistic, some coming out of nowhere. But overall, it's still really good. You can see the clear path of following the clues, and a lot of stuff makes sense. But then, speaking of the out of nowhere stuff, there's a large section of the end where there's plot points that aren't super resolved. You can kind of figure out what happened there, but then you're like, okay, so if that happened, what are we gonna do about it? But movie's over. And I feel like, if this mystery had more time to breathe, it could have had kind of a better resolution. And I do really like this movie, but it really should have been longer. You have two good ideas in here, each competing with screen time, and I like them both, but does this movie have enough time to do them both? And that other YouTuber that said this could have been a TV series, I totally agree with. It could have been something really cool, like a horror comedy TV series, like Santa Carla Diet that was on Netflix? It could have been something like that. But yeah, it is just kind of pressed for time. But overall, I still really liked what we got. I wish we got more of it. Wish it had more room to breathe. But yeah, you fit the two ideas in there. But anyway, overall, I thought it was a pretty good movie. Some people are really in love with this. I don't know if I'd say, it's amazing, but it's pretty good. Just know going in, it more wants to be a quirky indie movie and not so much a horror movie. So if you're looking for straight scares, straight horror, not exactly what we're going for here. It's a really good and interesting concept, and it's a really good world, but, because of those two halves, not everything has all the space it needs. But overall, a pretty fun movie, and like I said, I found this for $1. It's pretty cool, well above your average indie movie, but yeah, just know going in, not straight horror, but good world building, and overall, pretty fun. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You're really helping the channel out. If you like this, I do like 95% horror here, and I'll put a relevant playlist on the bottom if you want to see more. I'm sure I've got more that you'll like. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day.